With the Spinosaurus defeated in the life or death duel, it was time to introduce the audience to the next contender fighting the victorious T-Rex. The Indominus Rex, a hybrid of several dinosaurs and animal species, would surely be right for that task, and though the audience was a little confused at first as what to expect, the hype surrounding the fight grew with each day. As the Tyrannosaurus was sedated for recovery, the I-Rex was already transported towards the fighting pen for visitors to view and see walking around. Its bright white color and spikes made the Indominus quite the monster to behold. Its body was more athletically built than the T-Rex, and it did have longer arms. Statistics showed that the I-Rex had an advantage over its upcoming nemesis. When the T-Rex had been fully recovered, it was set loose again, smelling in the air that a new combatant was in town. The Rex was transported the very next day, and as it was lifted into the pen, the Indominus Rex seemed very aware of what was happening opposite of her. The T-Rex seemed to understand too, as it was surrounded by familiar smells. Its large fan base had assembled once again, bringing boards and signs to show their support in the audience. The I-Rex showcased signs of great intelligence, and its cool look sat well with some of the youth who cheered it on. Once the fence separating the two was removed, it did not take long before they noticed the opening and ran to one another. The battle was about to begin. The fight was once again televised live to audience all over the world. It was the park's way of keeping it up to date and viral as new dinosaurs were being bred. The Indominus Rex showed great skill and power in the first part of the battle, as it was able to draw first blood. The fight was tense, and not necessarily as action-packed as some had hoped. The two monsters realized both of them had the power to kill one another, and the champion and challenger made sure to look for any rare opening. But to some people's surprise, but also many people's relief, it was the reigning champion, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, that was victorious by killing the hybrid in a brutal fashion. The T-Rex stood as the victor, but was wounded and stressed out. The sirens proclaiming its victory going off throughout the park also did not help with this. It were all these small things that led up to that dreadful moment. To that moment that had been telegraphed and warned about by Konoa scientists all along. Where people could enjoy the park in peace that was about to come to an end. Maybe it was karma, for once again delving into the role of God after previous dinosaur parks had proved to be a grave mistake. Or it was redemption for the brutal and cruel display of the dinosaur fights, angering many who opposed this. Whatever the reason would be, people would look back at this day as the day where it all turned into a bloodbath. With the T-Rex being victorious, its stress levels had peaked to where it lost self-control. It was still in fighting mode, and with no opponent in the pen, it attacked the flimsy fence, a danger many of the scientists had warned about. The king of the dinosaurs was loose, and people screamed and ran from the tyrant, but not all could get away. The noise and the ruckus over at the fighting pen was so loud that it stressed out other dinosaurs in nearby pens as well. The presumed peaceful Stegosaurus showcased similar behavior as it attacked the fence to escape to freedom. As the alarm was raised for the people to seek shelter, the T-Rex was rampaging throughout the park, stomping on multiple guests who met an early death. It was absolute chaos. More dinosaurs escaped, and the monorail leading away from the park was too small to carry all the thousands of guests off the island immediately. Multiple types of dinosaurs intermingled within the park as they ran, stomped, or snuck their way looking for their next human snack. But it was not just humans who got confronted, as sometimes two rivaling dinosaurs also crossed paths. People were screaming and crying everywhere, as the smaller types, like the Velociraptor, also hunted some of the humans down who were cornered. Some of the rangers headed into the park to sedate the dinosaurs, but the situation was already too far gone, with another dinosaur behind each corner they passed. The staff currently at the park tried their best to help the guests, but they had their own problems back at their staff facility. Besides a giant Spinosaurus laying waste to people, other smaller creatures took their vengeance on the park rangers and scientists as well. Even the twin of the Indominus Rex could pry itself loose and literally meet its maker to devour them. In a way, there was something poetic about the deaths of the scientists, by that of which they helped to create. There were those running into the destroyed pens, finding themselves lost or eaten. Some people got it bad, who fell prey to the tiny Dilophosaurus. The main shopping street had turned into a mess of humans, body parts, and roaming dinosaurs. Some of the dinosaurs showcased signs of confusion within the chaos. Some fought, some ran frantically, stomping more people to death, and others continued to eat the guests. Death for some of the dinosaurs came in the form of losing a duel against another carnivore. There was just nowhere to run for the people. The buildings were already filled to the brink with frightened guests, and the rest fell victim to the jaws, claws, and paws of the giant monsters. With the park crumbling by the minute, Konoa made sure to evacuate his most important staff members and lawyers of the island. The victim total crept into the hundreds, and this could prove to be a very expensive set of lawsuits on the rise, so he better lawyered up. Footage from a Ranger helicopter gave a good glimpse of the desperate situation as families were separated and individuals ran for their lives as the park was taken over by the creatures. There was no saving it, and some of the staff members simply abandoned their posts and used the staff vehicles to quickly save themselves. Slowly, it became more quiet in the park, except for the few people who were still outside with the stomping and fighting dinosaurs. The last of the people were being eaten or stomped on, as a sense of calm slowly returned to some parts of the park. The herbivores explored their newly expanded home with curious eyes, inspecting the human architecture with wonder. Konoa's Jurassic Park was done for. He was confident, though, that someday he would make a new and even better park, as the past had showcased that people like Hammond could always come out on top again after a disaster that occurred before. This island and this park now belong to the dinosaurs, and was a harsh lesson for man who seems to never learn. Hey everybody, and thank you for watching and supporting this unique Jurassic Park series I did. Though this is the finale of this miniseries, I might return to this setting in the future with a new miniseries, as DLC was promised to add water creatures or maybe even flying creatures. I could also do a storyline about the dinosaurs roaming free on the island, etc., but that will be for the future. I think this series was a good taste of how I'm going to do most future narrative series, in this sense that they will not be a series that consists of 20 or 30 episodes, but rather a bit more compact into 4, 5, or 6 episodes. Even so, this series did not get the numbers like series like Hearts of Iron narratives or Star Wars, and I'm afraid that most of my fans just like more military stuff, which is a bit of a shame because I think I'm capable of making narrative series for all kinds of games and settings. Nevertheless, I am very proud of this series, as I envisioned it like this from the moment it got recommended by a viewer before the game was even first released. I would first start with a few episodes where everything was nice and we got some cool close-ups of the dinosaurs. Then, things would slowly start to escalate, with the final episode being this dinosaur feeding frenzy. Anyway, with this series now coming to a close, I will soon start another narrative series, so I hope to see you all then. Thank you.